The best way to see any country, I think, is driving through it. And I needed a car that would stand up to the beauty of the places that we would be going, and there was really only one option, the new Bentley Continental GT. This whole drive is about getting away from city life and the chaos and everything and just reacquainting with natural beauty. So we eased ourselves into that by heading to the Golden Gate Bridge, which is a wonderful marriage of modern human engineering and scenic beauty for sunset. Yeah. And we got some pretty stellar shots there.
Yeah, got super lucky with the weather there. And originally, actually, we'd planned to kind of play it by ear how long we were going to stay in San Francisco. But as we kind of were wrapping up at sunset, it made the most sense to head to one of my personal favorite national parks, and over at Yosemite. That's been to the entrance and just seen the granite walls light up as the sun kind of crests over the mountain peak. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. It's breathtaking, and I think we were able to time it pretty well too with bringing the car in.
That was a really special first stop for me because I'd never been there before. Like a lot of the places we ended up going, no pictures, no videos, anything that you see that we've captured, nothing does scale of it justice.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then from Yosemite,
quick stop at Mono Lake, a totally weird alien landscape that I really wanted to see, but we couldn't get very close to these weird like stalagmite formations.
Yeah, stalagmite, stalactite.
Tight, hang on tight. Yeah. We couldn't get very close, so we kind of plowed on through to Alabama Hills. Basically, if you've seen any Western from the 60s or 70s, you probably recognize it. If you saw Django Unchained, there's a shot with the wagon caravan going through. So obviously, it's a perfect place for a $250,000 sports car.
Yeah, naturally.
Kind of tear through.
Off-road.
The Continental was actually really well suited to Alabama Hills because it's a big GT. So it's really sporting and can be aggressive, but it's still softly sprung enough that it absorbed the kind of rivets and pebbles of the road. So I don't think many owners should necessarily take theirs there, but for what we did with it there, it did really well.
Yeah. Probably the first time any of the locals that kind of camped along that road saw a Continental rolling through.
For sure, maybe a Land Rover or two, but probably not anything that British and that low. We slept a little bit, and then we woke up and made our break for Las Vegas via Death Valley.
That was probably an hour or two outside.
It was not far from Alabama Hills, but what was funny is we went through, I think, stovepipe wells, and we're like, wow, Death Valley's cool, but I think I was expecting more. And then we went over another. There's a lot of valley, not as much death.
The tarantula.
Oh yeah. That's why we kept moving.
That's
why we kept moving so quickly through what we thought was Death Valley, which was really just stovepipe wells.
Yeah.
And then we got to Death Valley.
Yeah. And I think through Death Valley, we saw the tarantula going through, and then that led us to Valley of Fire. We got there basically right when sun was setting.
Yeah, I'm glad we waited until after sunset, because then when those rocks turned to silhouette and the sky lit up, that made for one of my favorite photos that we got along the way. Just the silhouette of the beautiful character line that defines the Continental now. That's got to be one of my favorite shots.
Vegas.
From Valley of Fire, we went to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And you had never been down the Strip before.
No, it was my first time.
I don't know if you remember when we were pulling up to the Strip, you were taking in the third scale Eiffel Tower and the 370Z, relatively tastefully modded, pulled up next to us and then dropped his air suspension to the ground, and there was a gawker on the sidewalk holding his cell phone up and giving the universal gesture to rev. And I turned to you and I said,
Bentley drivers don't rev their engines.
Bentley boys don't rev for cell phones. And I would never say that otherwise, but when you're driving in the Bentley, you have to, it absorbs you as much as you absorb it. So I kind of had to play it.
You were feeling it.
But but we didn't film anything or take any pictures in Las Vegas because, again, coming back to the theme of kind of appreciating America's natural beauty. But then we made our way to Zion.
Yeah.
Zion National Park.
Yeah, and that was both our first times.
No, I'd been there before.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, try to keep up.
It was both of our first times.
It doesn't matter how many times you go there. That's another place that just, no matter how many photos or videos you see, they won't do the real place justice.
Yeah.
Doing this in November was brilliant because the fall foliage, even going through the desert, was amazing. And then in Zion,
awesome.
to have those colors of the stone and the trees down there, the like bright yellow leaves against the orange rock, it was absolutely stunning.
Yeah, the river kind of running through. Pretty much the entirety of the drive through Zion was also a long, really awesome scenic river.
So from Zion, we were making our way to Lake Powell. We had opted that morning to skip the Grand Canyon for whatever stupid reason, but I wanted to go to the next best dam in the general region, so we were heading for Glen Canyon Dam. And on the way there, we saw a sign for Lone Rock, which is this insane geological phenomenon. It's just this one big, I guess, what kind of rock? It doesn't matter. It's a big rock sticking up out of this lake, and it's beautiful, it's serene, there's nobody there. I'd never seen it before. That's the whole reason I tried to get myself into this position, to be able to explore and drive these amazing cars across the country. It's really about the adventure and seeing something you've never seen before, which, like I was saying, is harder and harder to do. And then we went to a resort with a bunch of tourists and ate at a buffet and went to sleep again.
Yeah.
Then we woke up for sunrise the next morning to shoot Lake Powell. And
from there was the first of actually a couple dams of the trip, right?
First of two significant dams, the Glen Canyon Dam, which is kind of like a miniature Hoover Dam, so it was cool. We didn't spend too much time there before going into that very cool Shell gas station on the way through Utah, which looked like it was plucked straight from Radiator Springs.
Yeah.
That's a Cars reference for all the Pixar people that think Cars doesn't count as a good movie. It does.
It doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't.
If you like Cars, it does.
That doesn't.
So,
I think that day we wanted to make sure we got to Telluride, and that was it was going to be a longer drive too.
That was when we really got to tap into the
massage seat.
I was gonna say twin turbo W12 engine with 626 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque, but
massage seats.
Using both together in unison is really the best combination. And I think Bentley rates the car as being able to accelerate from 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds, which is absolutely mind-boggling for a car that must weigh 6,000 pounds with all the actual woods and metals.
I've done a bunch of road trips, and you've done a lot of driving as well. And usually after 10 days in the car, you're feeling pretty crummy. That 6-hour drive was one of the kind of the longer stints until we got to the Midwest. Yeah, that we were able to kind of understand too, not only the performance, but the comfort of the car. We took the eastern route on the $1 Million Highway up through Durango. And when you pull into Telluride, you want to be pulling up in a Bentley. It's kind of like, you feel a part of the kind of social elite that have nested themselves in Telluride.
That's the first time the roads got pretty dicey, because up until then we were pretty much in flat desert roads, and then all of a sudden we were approaching twisty mountain ice patchy
S-curved,
roads. Yeah. Bentley wanted to fit us with all-season tires for exactly this occasion. So really impressive to see how well this huge, heavy car, over 600 horsepower, on not necessarily ideal tires, just absolutely devoured these twisty mountain roads. From there, we went to the iconic Miller Lite Rockies.
Yeah. The
Coors Light. That makes more sense. Tap the Rock is I don't watch football, so I don't
know your
watch
light beer
commercials. We got a quick shot of the car lined up against that beautiful mountain range.
Yeah,
and then
right outside Telluride.
We made a mad dash for Pikes Peak. We realized that the gate closed at, I think, was it like 3 p.m.?
Yeah.
Called the park ranger to find out when they closed, and I think we found out we had 6 hours to get from basically Telluride to Pikes Peak.
Yeah.
So we called the park ranger and found out the gate closes at 6 because it takes so much time to get up to the top and whatever. So we basically had 6 hours to get from Telluride to Pikes Peak, and
at that point, when we were looking at Google Maps, it was stating ETA of, I think, like 4.
It said we were going to get there 2 hours later than we needed to, but we said, we're in a Bentley.
We'll time it.
We'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, we'll have a hell of a drive, and then we'll sleep a little bit and maybe try to hit Pikes Peak in the morning. We pulled up to the gate 6 minutes before they were due to close.
Yeah.
The lady told us it wasn't, and we could only go up maybe halfway up the mountain.
Yeah.
But we decided to go for it anyways because we just made that dash. So we went up, and we actually made it as far as about 1,000 feet from the peak. And there was a ranger up there that was very nice and let us park the car on the other side of some cones.
And those shots would probably rank up some of my favorite shots too. And just being able to be in Colorado and the mountain range there where Pikes Peak sits was so beautiful, and we got the sky to open up. The snow was still there, so again, the Bentley on this extreme sharp S curve, pretty much cutbacks, pretty much the entire way up. I was definitely a little sketched out because Pikes Peak doesn't have any guardrails, and that's part of its charm, I guess, for the racers. But for a couple guys in a $225,000.
It was the most scared I've ever been shooting car to car. Not seeing in front of me and just knowing there were 12,000 foot drops. And as we were going over and I see the patches of ice going under our tires and under the Bentley's tires, that was a bit harrowing. But we made it. The next morning, we woke up again for sunrise.
We wanted to get to Nashville.
Yeah.
And
we wanted to get closer to the tail of the dragon. I've been there before, and it's absolutely beautiful. Very sharp, dramatic, increasing, decreasing radius, hairpin turns with elevation change, and we really got to push the Bentley there. That was the first time I feel like we really pushed it as a performance car. Third to last day of the trip, made our way for the Lynco Viaduct, which is another part of the Ridge Parkway, and the most iconic part is the Lynco Viaduct, which is this elevated section of road. And we got there again for sunrise, had the road to ourselves. Those were some amazing photos as well. And originally we were intending to just go straight from there into Washington, D.C. to continue up through the Appalachian Mountains and then cut into D.C. But I think we decided at breakfast that morning it would be insane to start at the Pacific Ocean and not go to the Atlantic.
Yep.
So we rerouted. We had made up some time in our blast through the Midwest, and we decided to alter our route, add a day to the trip, and head for Assateague Island.
Mm-hmm. And Assateague Island is?
Assateague Island is a very small, long, narrow island off the coast of Maryland. The state that bore these two Mikes. To have driven a Bentley across the country to our home state and pull onto this sand and not get stuck even a little bit and have these wild ponies kind of just sauntering around this beautiful car. That was totally surreal as a life experience in this career. In my life in general, and for it to happen in our home state, that was really something that I couldn't even dreamt of happening. You can't plan for something as spectacular as that.
No. Yeah, it's definitely one of the moments that everything kind of comes together. And I noticed a lot on this trip. I mean, I think it's the fact that we have a lot of experience traveling shooting cars. I think it's that we had kind of loosely mapped out a really awesome route, and that we had one of the most beautiful cars on the road.
Absolutely.
That could be it. But for some reason, I mean, for a lot of these places that we visited in America, everything kind of just came together one way or the other, and it all kind of peaked there in Assateague.
So should we wrap this up and make our break for Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, this hotel room is cozy, but I'm ready to get back home.
Yeah, I could probably drive for another couple of weeks.
Yeah, we could also get back to the other coast.
We should get home. It's hard to express what a significant privilege it was for Bentley to let us take this car the way we did.
For the most part, I mean, traveling across the country with a good friend and a sweet car with good music and good conversation and amazing views is about as much as you can ask for.
It's literally my favorite thing to do in the world.
Yeah.
And thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next one.